Hi, everybody. Dr. Zach here. I'm excited to get back in front of you today and to give you a little update on my perspective on the COVID crisis that we've been stuck in for months now, for coming up on a year now. So, this is going to be my latest update, and we're going to be talking about what are we supposed to be afraid of now. And I apologize because I don't watch media. I actually have gotten away from mainstream media for a long time, and more recently, even some of the more non-mainstream media. Simply because there's just too much noise coming at me. And I want to focus on what's important and what's in front of me and what today looks like instead of trying to figure out what does the next 6 years of my life look like. So I apologize. I'm not in touch with the media. So I really don't know what I'm supposed to be afraid of right now. Probably not the best expert to keep you up to date on COVID since I don't understand, what you're supposed to be afraid of. But with that, I do subscribe to a couple of medical sites. And so I've got medical research, medical information, essentially the buzz from the medical community that I have a chance to look at periodically. And so as I was looking at it today, I was reminded that I'm supposed to be afraid right now. And so here's what we're supposed to be afraid of. There's this new UK variant, right? From the United Kingdom, this new variant, the different variety of the COVID-19 virus that now they're saying, at first they said it was going to spread faster, but it was going to be less severe. Well, that doesn't keep me scared enough. So now they're telling us that it's more deadly. It's more deadly than the previous one. So we can expect things to get even worse. So be sure to be very afraid right now. That's critical. Also, I guess that there's a Brazilian strain that's coming too, and it's hit the United States. So now we've got, we're getting blasted from all different corners of our country. So with that said, make sure that you're staying in constant fear of COVID. And of course, I say that tongue in cheek, because if you go back to my videos from the very beginning, I said, guess what? We beat this thing. Our immune systems have already beat this thing from the very beginning. Going back to Wuhan, China, when this whole thing started catching media attention and we were starting to catch this fear about, oh no, is this going to come to the US? We're going to lock down travel, we're going to protect ourselves. And then it just came down upon us, and we've been stepping over dead bodies everywhere we go because half of our actually we had less deaths in 2020 than we did in 2019 in the United States. So we've been told to be afraid. We've been told that our world is being decimated, but we're not necessarily seeing everything come into agreement and alignment with that. And I'm not being insensitive. I'm not saying people haven't died through this crisis, but I'm saying that what they're telling us and the actuality of it aren't lining up. When we see a lower number of total deaths in a year that we have just put our whole life on hold because of this pandemic that is decimating humanity, and we're told that we're supposed to be afraid of, maybe we need to look at things from a different perspective. So with that said, let's take a look and figure out where we are, what's going to be the best way to navigate with this new UK strain, the new Brazilian strain, all the things we're supposed to be afraid of. Let's talk about the vaccine. I get people asking me about the vaccine every single day. And so I want to just give you some information. I'm not going to go into what's in it. There's some great information out there about what's in it, and there's a lot of stuff in it that you don't want in your body, plain and simple. But let's just take a look at the outcomes that we're seeing. I'm going to start with Israel. I think Israel is an important country for us to look at because right now in Israel, they're essentially under a certain degree of martial law. Everybody in that country is required to get the vaccine. And so they've got upwards of 85% of the Israelis over 70 have received the first dose, about 55% have received the second dose. And I've actually got a kid that's been coming to see me since he was a little bitty guy that's at the University of Tel Aviv, and I know that his parents are concerned about the vaccine and what's in it and his health and safety. But here's what we're seeing from the numbers of this. Is that because we've got everybody is going to be required to get this vaccine in Israel, and we've got pretty high numbers that have already seen that, what they're showing is that they're having an unprecedented level of deaths and severe cases of COVID since the vaccine has come out. So we've been being warned for months about this second wave. And they're even telling us that it's an unusual second wave because we usually don't have a second wave. Well, they've been preparing us, getting our minds to where we're starting to embrace the possibility of a second wave, and now we're seeing it. Unprecedented. And in Israel and in other countries as well, they're seeing the second wave is more intense than the first wave. So, all of the people that we saw dying and so forth from COVID initially, we're seeing more of that, more severe cases in places after the vaccine's been administered. Now, maybe that's just a coincidence because we've been told to expect coincidences as well, right? If you're a sports fan, Hank Aaron, what a great sports hero. And because he's a great guy, he's wanted to make himself noticeable to the black community and say, you know what? We need to come together. We need to do this. We need to do what we're responsible to do for the health of our community. So he, had the mainstream media videotaping him, taking pictures of him getting his COVID vaccine. On January 5th, he got his first dose. He was scheduled, several weeks later to get his second dose. Unfortunately, he died mysteriously of mysterious causes before he could get his second dose. It's a coincidence, right? We're being told coincidences are going to be happening all the time, but they're not related to the vaccine, right? So don't even let your mind go that way because that's not a possibility because the media says it's purely coincidence. It's not because of the vaccine. And here's another great coincidence. I'm not familiar with the island of Gibraltar. I've heard of the Rock of Gibraltar, but I thought this was an interesting article because Gibraltar, a little British island off of the coast of Spain, has a population of 32,000. Up until January 9th of 2021, so basically that first year of the COVID crisis, they'd had a total of 17 COVID deaths, which if you're familiar with the Worldometer, it actually measures the number of deaths of COVID and so forth that's going on a regular basis. And it kind of grades countries by whether they're on the high end of that or on the bottom end of that. Gibraltar was towards the very bottom. They had a very low percentage of their population that was dying from COVID. So then on January 9th, something happened. And this is the day that the Royal Air Force showed up on Gibraltar with 9,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. And it was transported at minus 70 degrees centigrade because that's what it has to be done. And they wanted to administer it to as many people as quickly as they could before it became non-effective. So January 9th, they introduced the Pfizer vaccine, and in a little bit over a week, 36 COVID deaths of people that were vaccinated show up. So this vaccine that we're being conditioned as being the savior of humanity and the end-all solution for the COVID crisis, all of a sudden shows up on Gibraltar, and now they're towards the top of deaths per capita, and it all showed up after the vaccine came out. So with that said, and I'm going to be quick to remind you of this, is that I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not going to say get the vaccine, don't get the vaccine, take HQC or don't. I'm here to say think about what you're doing. Look at the stuff that's going on, and I would look beyond the mainstream media, because if you watch it, if you're watching the news, the evening news, I want you to watch who's paying for that. What advertisement is taking place on that channel that you're watching? And if any of it has to do with pharmaceuticals, guess what? They have the ability to dictate what kind of message comes through. And they're going to be like a used car salesman. They're not going to tell you what's wrong with their product. They're going to tell you everything they can to make you think this is the greatest product on the world. I apologize to used car salesmen. That's probably a bad thing to do. But you guys get my point. It's that, when we have an agenda, and the bottom line of that agenda is to make money, we might actually bring a little bit of deceit into that picture. And so I just want you to consider that. So as you're navigating through this, I've given you some things to be afraid of today. And I've given you some information about, what kind of approaches you can take to move forward with that. In conclusion, here's what I'm doing. I'm recognizing that I was actually born with an immune system. And that same immune system, that if I were to cut my finger, instantly my body would actually activate that immune system and I would start the process of healing. If I encounter a virus or a bacteria or a mold or anything else, immediately my immune system is going to be mobilized to start the healing process from that. And so my action plan is to optimize my immune system response. And how do I do that? I start my day with gratitude. Gratitude has more effect on activating the healing part of your nerve system than just about anything else you can do. One of the most powerful things you can do besides that is a cold shower. So I do that as well. I want to boost my parasympathetic nerve system, which is my heal and repair part of my nerve system. I eat healthy foods. In fact, my wife and I right now are in the middle of a cleanse. We're actually doing an elimination program for 11 days, a reset of our hormones and our immune system, and increase in fitness. So I've already lost almost 11% body fat in the last 9 days. And energy's good, everything's moving in the right direction. So I do a lot to take care of my health and my life. So I eat right, I exercise. Got up, got my workout this morning, did my spinal exercises, my postural correction exercise, so I'm taking care of my alignment, my structure. I get adjusted every Friday to make sure my immune system and my nerve system are communicating. People that get adjusted on a regular basis, their immune system operates at between 200 and 400% higher capacity. That's the best immune activator that I think that you can get. So these are my approaches to health. Eat right, exercise, think right, get some rest, detoxify, get some sunshine, get social interaction, laugh, smile, enjoy each other, enjoy life, pray, meditate. This is the solution to living a healthy life. So with that said, this is Dr. Zach. You guys are created to overcome COVID. So don't be afraid. Just take responsibility for your health, because you're the only person who is responsible for your health. And let's make this week a great one. God bless you guys, and we'll be in touch.